Hey, look, this is personal for me. I paid for my school in blood, sweat, and tears in service to our nation. I have friends that didn't come home from Iraq who used the military to pay for their school as well. I mean, this is completely illegal. It's unconstitutional. We've proven that in court once before and put a stop to it. About a year ago, actually, the United States Supreme Court handed down the decision in the previous case. And so we know Congress has the power of the purse, not the president. He's trying to use the Higher Education Act of 1965, and there's no statutory hook, no statutory basis, no text to support the notion that he can cancel debt. Any working family or small business owner out there will tell you there's no such thing as debt cancellation. Somebody's paying it. And I'm not going to let Joe Biden saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt.
I want to bring in a piece of this lawsuit, if I can, here for something that you put in. And you say this, you write, quote, yet again, the president is unilaterally trying to impose an extraordinarily expensive and controversial policy that he could not get through Congress. This latest attempt to sidestep the Constitution is only the most recent instance in a long but troubling pattern of the president relying on innocuous language from decades-old statutes to impose drastic, costly policy changes on the American people without their consent. And there are many AGs, there are many Americans that agree with exactly what you've written there. But a judge ultimately ruling on this, how do you see this playing out?
Well, we're going to be successful. The Supreme Court has already decided this matter. And what the Supreme Court said in the previous case is essentially that Congress doesn't hide an elephant in a mouse hole. If Congress intends to allow the president to redistribute north of $500 billion in wealth, to the tune of costing Missouri taxpayers more than $40 million, then Congress has to provide explicit authorizing language. Congress has twice rejected the opportunity to do that in 2019 and again in 2021. But the American people need to understand this is not about President Biden abiding by the law and trying to use a program that exists in the text of the law today to help people out. Rather, what he's doing is breaking the law to try to buy votes in a demographic of the electorate that he is largely losing now to President Trump. And again, he's out on the stump bragging about the fact that he's defying the previous ruling from the United States Supreme Court. At what point do we call this what it is, a constitutional crisis?
At the time you filed the lawsuit, the White House was asked about this. Karine Jean-Pierre responding, saying in part, quote, we know what Republicans are going to do. We can't stop them from that. But it's also not going to stop the president on acting and taking action like he's doing today. And it's interesting timing, sir, your challenge to the student loan forgiveness plan and then the president's executive order to address the border crisis here. Of all the time he could have acted, why are we seeing these decisions right now?
Well, he's clearly trying to interfere in the election by using his official office to try to buy votes with the student loan debt cancellation plan. And again, I don't concede that there's any such thing as cancel. That debt is going to be passed on to working Missouri families, and that's why this lawsuit's so important. But I think he's also realized that he's used lawfare against President Trump, and that's going to boomerang at some point. What role is he playing in election interference if he's trying to buy votes? And is there a red state prosecutor out there that could potentially charge him with a criminal offense? What about the border crisis, where more than 1,100 reported incidences of human trafficking in the state of Missouri are the direct result of President Biden's invasion at the southern border? Is he a co-conspirator in human trafficking through his failed policies? I mean, again, I think his lawfare has let the genie out of the bottle, and he should be deeply concerned about his failed policies when it comes to these two issues.
There's reporting today, sir, that the president may take executive action on the border, specifically limiting the amount of asylum requests that could come through on a daily basis to 2,500. Some reports put that upwards of 4,000. We don't know yet until we hear from the president on this. What are your thoughts on that executive action, should that go through or come from the president today?
Well, it's a spit in the ocean. I mean, why is he, like you said, why is he doing that now after he's let 10 million criminal aliens into the country? That's more than the entire population of the state of Missouri. We've had more than 1,500 fentanyl deaths in 1 year alone. 43 innocent children who've died from accidental fentanyl exposure. I was talking to a police officer the other day who had to be given Narcan twice because on a routine traffic stop, he was exposed to fentanyl during a search of the vehicle. I mean, these are harms that are directly attributable to Biden's open door policy at the border. And closing the door slightly doesn't fix the problem. He has had the tools on the books all along. President Trump used the same immigration law to reduce illegal border crossings by more than 90%. And yet everything President Biden has done has been designed to undermine our national sovereignty at the southern border. And it's making Missouri communities less safe.